My name is Daniel, and I'm 32 years old. 3 years ago, I made what I thought was a generous decision that would eventually become my biggest nightmare. I bought a house, a beautiful 3-bedroom in a great neighborhood, and put it in my brother Marcus's name to help him build credit after his bankruptcy. I paid every penny, the down payment, the mortgage, the renovations, everything. Marcus was supposed to just hold the title temporarily while his credit recovered. We had an agreement in writing. Last Tuesday morning, I was making coffee in my kitchen when Marcus walked in with our parents, Patricia and Robert, trailing behind him. "Daniel, we need to talk," Marcus said, his arms crossed over his chest. "Sure, what's up?" I asked, pouring my coffee. "This is my house now," Marcus announced. "I want you out." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. "What are you talking about? The house is in my name, little brother. Legally, it's mine." "You're just a guest who's overstayed his welcome," Marcus said, smirking. My mother stepped forward. "Daniel, honey, Marcus is right. The deed is in his name. You should find your own place." "Mom, I bought this house. Marcus agreed to—" "You have 12 hours to pack your things and leave," my father interrupted, checking his watch. "If you're not out by 8 o'clock tonight, we're calling the police to remove you for trespassing." My hands shook as I set down my coffee cup. "Dad, you know I paid for everything. Marcus was bankrupt 3 years ago. How could he have afforded this house?" "That's irrelevant," Marcus said coldly. "The title is what matters, and my name is on it. You have no legal claim here." "We have an agreement, a contract," I protested. My mother shook her head. "Daniel, you need to accept reality. This is Marcus's house. You've been living here rent-free for 3 years. Be grateful he let you stay this long." "Rent-free? Mom, I pay the mortgage every month. I paid the $50,000 down payment. I renovated the entire kitchen last year." "Can you prove any of that?" Marcus challenged, his eyes gleaming with confidence. "Of course I can. I have bank statements, receipts, the original contract we signed." "A contract?" My father scoffed. "Daniel, you're not a lawyer. Whatever piece of paper you think protects you probably isn't worth anything." Marcus pulled out his phone. "Look, I'm trying to be nice here. I could have just changed the locks while you were at work. Instead, I'm giving you 12 hours. That's generous." "Why are you doing this?" I asked, staring at my brother. "I helped you when you had nothing. I saved you from living in a 1-bedroom apartment. This was supposed to be temporary." "Plans change," Marcus shrugged. "I've been thinking about selling this place. It's worth about $400,000 now. That's a nice profit from the $250 you paid 3 years ago. But I'm feeling charitable, so I'll let you walk away quietly without pressing trespassing charges." My mother touched my arm. "Sweetie, just accept this and move on. Marcus needs this house for his future. He's getting married in 6 months, and Emma wants to start a family here." "He's getting married? In my house? With money from selling my house?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "It's not your house," all 3 of them said in unison. 8 o'clock tonight, Daniel," my father repeated. "Don't make this ugly. We're family." "Family," I repeated bitterly. "Right." After they left, I sat at my kitchen table, the one I'd bought in the house I'd purchased, and pulled out the folder I'd kept in my safe. Inside was the contract Marcus and I had signed 3 years ago, notarized and witnessed. It clearly stated that I was the beneficial owner, that I would pay all expenses, and that Marcus would transfer the title back to me once his credit improved. I also had 3 years of mortgage payments, property tax receipts, and renovation invoices, all in my name. I pulled out my phone and called the one person who could help me. "Sarah Chen, real estate attorney," a professional voice answered. "Miss Chen, my name is Daniel Morrison, and I need your help. My family is trying to steal my house, and I have about 11 hours to stop them." I met Sarah Chen at her office within an hour. She was a sharp woman in her 40s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. "Tell me everything," Sarah said, opening her notepad. I explained the entire situation, how I'd bought the house, put it in Marcus's name, paid everything for 3 years, and now faced eviction from my own property. "Do you have the contract you mentioned?" she asked. I handed her the folder. Sarah studied the document carefully, her eyes scanning every line. "Daniel, this contract is solid," she said finally. "It clearly establishes you as the beneficial owner. You have witnesses who signed it?" "Yes, 2 of Marcus's friends witnessed it, Jake Reynolds and Tom Parker. They were there when we signed at the notary's office." "And you have proof of all payments?" Sarah asked. "Every single one. Bank statements showing mortgage payments, wire transfer for the down payment, receipts for renovations, property tax payments, everything," Sarah smiled. "Your brother made a critical mistake. He's committing fraud, attempting to claim property he doesn't legally own despite knowing about your agreement. That's a felony in this state." "What do we do?" I asked. First, we contact these witnesses. I need their statements confirming they saw you and Marcus sign this contract. Second, we compile all your financial records into a clear timeline. Third, we prepare for a confrontation where we present this evidence. And fourth, we involve law enforcement if Marcus doesn't back down. My parents will be furious, I said quietly. Daniel, your parents are accessories to fraud if they know about the contract and are still trying to force you out. They're trying to intimidate you into giving up your legal rights. That's not okay, Sarah explained. Over the next few hours, we worked systematically. I called Jake Reynolds first. Jake, it's Daniel Morrison. Do you remember being a witness when Marcus and I signed a contract about the house on Maple Street 3 years ago? Of course I remember, Jake replied. You paid for that house and let Marcus hold the title. Is everything okay? Not exactly. Would you be willing to give a statement about what you witnessed? Absolutely. Marcus told me at the time that you were being incredibly generous, helping him rebuild his credit. I'll help however I can, Jake assured me. Tom Parker gave a similar statement, remembering the contract signing clearly. Sarah drafted a formal demand letter while I organized my financial documents. Bank statements showing $50,000 wired to the title company for the down payment. Mortgage payment confirmations for 36 consecutive months, totaling over $45,000. Property tax receipts in my name. Renovation invoices and paid receipts totaling $28,000. The evidence is overwhelming, Sarah said. You've paid over $123,000 into this property. Marcus has paid nothing. The contract explicitly states your ownership rights. We have witness testimony. He has no case. So what happens now? I asked. Now we go back to your house. Yes, your house, and we present this evidence to Marcus and your parents. We give them one chance to acknowledge the truth. If they refuse, we immediately file a police report for fraud and obtain an emergency court order preventing any sale or transfer of the property, Sarah explained. And if they still try to force me out, then your brother goes to jail, Sarah said firmly. Fraud involving property worth hundreds of thousands of dollars carries serious penalties. We're talking potential prison time, felony conviction, and civil penalties. He'd owe you everything plus damages. I checked my phone. It was 6:30 p.m., 90 minutes until their deadline. Let's go end this, I said. At 7 p.m., I returned to my house with Sarah Chen. Marcus's car was in the driveway, along with my parents' vehicle. I'd also asked Jake and Tom to come as witnesses, and they'd agreed. We walked in through the front door. My front door. Marcus was sitting in the living room with our parents and a woman I assumed was his fiancée, Emma. You're early, Marcus said, standing up. But I'm glad. The sooner you're gone, the better. Actually, I'm not going anywhere, I said calmly. This is my house, and I have proof. Daniel, we've been through this, my father started. This is Sarah Chen, my real estate attorney, I interrupted. And these are Jake Reynolds and Tom Parker, the witnesses who were present when Marcus and I signed our agreement 3 years ago. My mother's face paled slightly. Marcus's confident smirk faltered. Miss Chen, would you like to explain the situation? I asked. Sarah stepped forward, opening her briefcase. Marcus Morrison, you are currently attempting to commit felony fraud. Daniel Morrison is the beneficial and equitable owner of this property, as evidenced by this notarized contract signed by both of you 3 years ago. She placed the contract on the coffee table. Marcus stared at it, but didn't touch it. That contract doesn't mean anything, Marcus said, but his voice lacked conviction. Actually, it means everything, Sarah continued. Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Parker, please state what you witnessed 3 years ago. Jake spoke first. I was present when Daniel and Marcus signed this contract at Johnson Notary Services. Daniel had just purchased this house and agreed to put it in Marcus's name temporarily to help him rebuild credit after bankruptcy. The contract clearly stated Daniel would pay all expenses and Marcus would transfer the title back later. Tom nodded. I witnessed the same thing. Marcus even thanked Daniel repeatedly, saying it was incredibly generous and that he'd never forget it. My mother clutched my father's arm. Marcus, is this true? Mom, it doesn't matter, Marcus tried. It absolutely matters, Sarah interrupted, pulling out more documents. Here are bank statements showing Daniel wired $50,000 for the down payment. Here are 36 months of mortgage payments, all made by Daniel. Here are property tax payments in Daniel's name. Here are $28,000 in renovation receipts. Daniel has paid every single expense related to this property. Marcus has paid nothing. Emma, I can explain. Marcus turned to his fiancée. You told me you bought this house, Emma said quietly. You said it was your investment property. It is my investment. The title is in my name, Marcus insisted. That doesn't make it yours, Sarah said sharply. You knowingly entered into an agreement, accepted thousands of dollars in benefits from Daniel paying your mortgage and property taxes, and are now attempting to steal property worth over $400,000. That's fraud. In this state, fraud involving property of this value is a Class C felony, punishable by 5 to 10 years in prison and financial restitution. My father stood up. Now wait just a minute. Let's not get law enforcement involved. This is a family matter. Mr. Morrison, you gave Daniel 12 hours to leave his own property, or you'd call the police for trespassing. You attempted to intimidate him into surrendering legal rights to property worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That makes you an accessory to fraud, Sarah stated coldly. The room went silent. Marcus, tell me you didn't know about this contract, my mother pleaded. Marcus wouldn't meet her eyes. Mom, I needed the money. The house value has gone up so much, and Emma and I want to start our lives together. So you decided to steal from your brother? My mother's voice broke. It's not stealing if it's in my name, Marcus shouted. Actually, it is, Sarah said, pulling out her phone, which is why I'm now calling Detective Williams with the Property Crimes Division. Wait, my father said. Can't we work this out privately? No, I said firmly. Marcus tried to steal my house. You both helped him. There's no working this out privately. Sarah spoke into her phone. Detective Williams? This is Sarah Chen. I'm at 742 Maple Street with a client who is the victim of property fraud. We have extensive documentation and witness testimony. Could you send an officer? Yes, the perpetrator is present. Thank you. Emma stood up, tears streaming down her face. I can't believe this. Marcus, how could you? Emma, baby, please. Marcus reached for her. Don't touch me, she said, pulling away. You're a thief. You lied to me about everything. Within 15 minutes, Detective Williams arrived with a uniformed officer. Sarah presented all the evidence, the contract, witness statements, financial records, and testimony from Jake and Tom. Detective Williams studied everything carefully, then looked at Marcus. Sir, based on this evidence, I'm placing you under arrest for felony fraud and attempted theft of property. This is ridiculous. The house is in my name, Marcus protested as the officer handcuffed him. That doesn't give you the right to steal it from its rightful owner, Detective Williams said. You have the right to remain silent. The next 3 months were a legal whirlwind, but Sarah Chen handled everything brilliantly. The evidence against Marcus was overwhelming, and his public defender advised him to take a plea deal. I was sitting in the courthouse when the judge announced Marcus's sentence. Marcus Morrison, you have pleaded guilty to felony fraud in the 3rd degree and attempted theft of property, Judge Henderson said. You knowingly attempted to steal property worth over $400,000 from your own brother, who had generously helped you during financial hardship. This court finds your actions particularly egregious given the family betrayal involved. I hereby sentence you to 4 years in state prison, followed by 3 years of probation. You are also ordered to pay restitution to Daniel Morrison in the amount of $123,000 for expenses incurred, plus $50,000 in damages for emotional distress and legal fees. Marcus's face crumpled as they led him away. Emma had broken off their engagement immediately and moved back to her parents' house in another state. The judge then addressed my parents, who sat silently in the gallery. Mr. and Mrs. Morrison, while you won't face criminal charges, understand that you participated in an attempt to defraud your own son. That reflects poorly on your character. I'm issuing a restraining order requiring you to stay at least 500 feet from Daniel and the property in question. Any violation will result in immediate arrest. My mother sobbed. My father looked like he'd aged 10 years. After the hearing, Sarah and I stood on the courthouse steps. Daniel, the title transfer paperwork is complete, she said, handing me a folder. The house is officially in your name now. No one can take it from you. Thank you, Sarah, for everything. You did the right thing by keeping documentation and standing up for yourself, she said. Too many people in your situation would have just walked away. That evening, I sat in my living room, my legally documented, no questions asked living room, and thought about everything that had happened. My parents had called multiple times, leaving crying voicemails about how I destroyed the family. They wanted forgiveness, reconciliation, a chance to move past this. I deleted every message without listening to them fully. They'd made their choice when they tried to help Marcus steal from me. Some betrayals don't deserve second chances. A week later, I got a letter from Marcus in prison. He claimed he'd made a mistake and hoped we could rebuild our relationship when he got out. He said he was truly sorry and asked if I'd consider dropping the restitution claim. I shredded the letter without finishing it. Justice isn't about revenge. It's about accountability. Marcus didn't make a mistake. He made a calculated decision to commit fraud. My parents didn't accidentally support him. They chose to pressure and intimidate me into giving up my legal rights. They all knew exactly what they were doing. The difference between revenge and justice is simple. Revenge is personal retaliation. Justice is holding people accountable through proper legal channels for actual wrongs they've committed. I didn't hurt Marcus. He hurt himself by breaking the law. I didn't ruin my parents' reputation. They ruined it themselves by siding with a thief over an honest son. Now I live in peace in my house, my real house, with my name on the title. I've renovated the master bedroom and am planning to redo the backyard this spring. The mortgage is manageable, the neighborhood is wonderful, and I sleep soundly knowing I stood up for myself the right way. Have you ever had family members try to take advantage of your generosity or steal something that rightfully belonged to you? What would you have done in my situation? Would you have fought back, or would you have walked away? Like and subscribe for more stories about people who refused to be victims and fought back the right way.